Rosa Martinez looked at the bright yellow paper stuck to her apartment door and felt her heart sink into her stomach. The big red letters at the top said "Final Notice," and below that, words that made her hands shake. She had 3 days to pay the rent, or she and her little daughter would be out on the street. Her 3-year-old daughter Luna was tugging at her worn-out jeans, asking for juice in her tiny voice. Rosa picked up her baby girl and held her close, trying not to let Luna see the tears forming in her eyes. This was not how she had imagined life would be when she was younger and full of dreams, just 4 months ago. Everything was different. Rosa had a steady job at the clothing factory where she worked the morning shift. The pay was not great, but it was enough to keep their small apartment and buy food for Luna. She even managed to save a few dollars each month, dreaming of maybe getting Luna a bigger bed or taking her to the zoo. But then the factory closed, down without warning. One day Rosa showed up for work and found a chain on the door with a sign that said the company was moving to another country. Just like that, 200 workers lost their jobs, including Rosa, who had worked there for almost 2 years. At first, Rosa thought finding another job would be easy. She was a hard worker, always on time, and good with her hands. Everywhere she could think of. The grocery store down the street, the restaurant where she sometimes bought Luna a Happy Meal, even the gas station on the corner. But every place she went, the answer was the same. They were not hiring, or they wanted someone with more experience, or they had already filled the position. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Rosa's small savings disappeared quickly. First, she used the money to pay rent and buy groceries. Then she had to choose between buying Luna's medicine for her breathing problems or paying the electric bill. She chose the medicine, and they spent 3 days in darkness until she could borrow money from her neighbor, Mrs. Lopez. Rosa
started selling things from their apartment.
The old television that barely worked went first. Then her grandmother's jewelry, which broke her heart because it was all she had left from her family. Even Luna's toys had to go, except for a small teddy bear that Luna carried everywhere. She asked everyone she knew for help. Her cousin Diego lent her $50, but he had his own family to feed. Her former coworker Anna gave her some groceries, but Anna was struggling too after losing her job at the same factory. Even Mrs. Lopez, who had been so kind, could only help so much because she lived on a small pension. Rosa applied for government help, but the process was slow and confusing. She spent hours in long lines at offices, filling out forms and waiting to talk to people who seemed too busy to really listen. The food stamps would help, but they said it might take weeks to process her application. The housing assistants had a waiting list that was years long. Every night, Rosa would put Luna to bed with a story and a song, trying to keep everything normal for her little girl. But after Luna fell asleep, Rosa would sit on their old couch and count the few dollars she had left. She would look at job listings on her old phone, hoping to find something, anything that would pay enough to keep them going. The medicine for Luna's breathing was running low, and Rosa knew it cost $60 to refill. She had $8 in her wallet, and no idea where the rest would come from. Luna had been coughing more at night, and Rosa was scared of what would happen if she could not afford the medicine. One evening, while Luna was sleeping, Rosa was talking to her neighbor, Isabella, who lived in the apartment upstairs. Isabella was a kind woman who had helped Rosa with babysitting when she still had her job. They were sitting on the steps outside their building, watching the sun go down and talking about how hard life had become. Isabella mentioned that she had heard about women in the neighborhood who were finding ways to make money quickly. Spoke in a quiet voice, looking around to make sure no one else was listening. She told Rosa about a website where people could offer different services to make money. Some women were offering to clean houses or cook meals, but others were offering more personal services to men who were willing to pay good money. Rosa felt uncomfortable hearing about this, but she also felt desperate. Isabella was not suggesting anything bad, just sharing information about what some women were doing to survive. Rosa thanked her friend and went back to her apartment, but she could not stop thinking about what Isabella had said. That night, Rosa could not sleep. She kept thinking about Luna's medicine, about the rent money they needed, about the empty refrigerator and the bills piling up on her small kitchen table. She had tried everything she could think of to find a regular job, but nothing was working fast enough. She looked at Luna sleeping peacefully in their shared bed, holding her little teddy bear. Rosa had promised herself she would always protect her daughter and give her a good life. But now she was running out of options, and the fear of being homeless with a sick child was stronger than anything else she felt. With her hands shaking, Rosa picked up her phone and searched for the website Isabella had mentioned. As she looked at the screen, she felt like she was standing at the edge of a cliff, not knowing if she would fall or find a way to fly. All she knew was that she had to do something, and she had to do it soon, because in 3 days, they would have nowhere to go. Rosa stared at her phone screen for what felt like hours that first night. Her fingers moved slowly as she created a profile on the website Isabella had told her about. She chose a simple photo of herself from last year, when she still had hope in her eyes and enough food to eat regularly. Writing about herself felt strange and uncomfortable. But she kept thinking about Luna's medicine and the rent money they desperately needed. The first response came, just 20 minutes after she posted her profile. Then another, and another. Rosa's phone kept buzzing with messages from strangers who wanted to meet her. Some were polite, others were direct about what they wanted. All of them offered money that seemed like a fortune to Rosa, who had been counting every penny for months. She chose to meet someone who seemed respectful in his messages. A man named Carlos, who said he was a businessman and just wanted companionship for dinner. He offered to pay her $200 just for spending the evening with him. That money would buy Luna's medicine and still leave enough for groceries for 2 weeks. Rosa arranged for Mrs. Lopez to watch Luna the next evening. Well, telling her kind neighbor that she had found some cleaning work that would keep her out late. Mrs. Lopez was happy to help, not knowing that Rosa's heart was breaking with every lie she had to tell. Getting ready to meet Carlos felt like preparing for a role in a play else she never wanted to be in. Rosa put on her best dress, the blue one she used to wear to church, before she became too ashamed to show her face there. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. Her cheeks had become thin from not eating enough, and her eyes looked tired and scared. The meeting with Carlos went differently than Rosa had expected. He was older than she thought, maybe in his 50s, with gray hair and expensive clothes. They met at a restaurant across town where Rosa had never been before. The food was fancy and there was too much of it, but Rosa ate slowly, remembering that she had not had a proper meal in days. Carlos talked about his work and asked Rosa questions about her life. She made up stories about being between jobs, not mentioning Luna or how desperate she really was. When the dinner was over, Carlos handed her an envelope with the money inside. Rosa expected him to ask for something more, but he just thanked her for the pleasant evening and said he would like to see her again. Walking home that night with $200 in her purse, Rosa felt confused about her feelings. She was grateful for the money that would help Luna, but she also felt empty inside. Like she had sold a piece of herself that she could never get back. The money lasted longer than Rosa expected, but it was not enough to solve all their problems. Luna needed new shoes because her old ones had holes in them. The electricity bill came with a late fee that made it even higher. And Rosa still had not found a regular job, despite applying to every place she could think of. So she met Carlos. Again the following week, it's time he took her to a hotel bar where they talked for hours. He told her about his loneliness since his wife had passed away. And Rosa found herself actually listening and caring about his story when he paid her. Again, she felt less like a stranger to herself, but still not like the person she used to be. More men started contacting Rosa through the website. Some wanted to meet for dinner, like Carlos. Others wanted her to attend business events with them so they would not look alone. A few offered even more money for private meetings in hotel rooms, but Rosa always said no to those. She had drawn a line for herself that she was not ready to cross. But as the weeks passed, that line became harder to maintain. Luna's breathing got worse during a cold spell, and they had to go to the emergency room one night when she could not stop coughing. The hospital bill was more than Rosa made in a month from her evening meetings. The doctor said Luna needed to see a specialist, which would cost even more money. Rosa started meeting with clients 3 or 4 times a week. She became good at pretending to be interested in conversations about business deals and sports teams. She learned to smile and nod at the right times, to laugh at jokes that were not funny, and to make men feel important and listened to. During the day, Rosa was still the same loving mother she had always been. She read books to Luna from the library, took her to the park when the weather was nice, and sang lullabies when Luna had trouble sleeping because of her cough. But at night, after Luna was asleep at Mrs. Lopez's apartment, Rosa became someone else entirely. The hardest part was not the work itself, but the secrets she had to keep. When Luna asked why Mommy went out so much at night, Rosa said she was working at a restaurant. When Mrs. Lopez offered to help Rosa look for daytime jobs, Rosa had to pretend she was still actively searching. When Isabella asked how Rosa was managing to pay her bills, Rosa said she had found some part-time work helping people with their computers. Every lie felt like another weight on Rosa's shoulders. She started avoiding eye contact with people at the grocery store, worried that they might somehow know what she was doing. She stopped going to the community center where she used to take Luna for story time, afraid that other mothers might judge her if they found out. The money helped with their immediate needs. But Rosa knew this could not last forever. She was living two completely different lives, and the stress of keeping them separate was making her feel sick and tired all the time. Some nights, she would come home and cry in the shower, scrubbing her skin until it was red and raw, trying to wash away the feeling that she was not the mother Luna deserved. But every morning, when Luna would wake up and smile at her with those big brown eyes, Rosa would remember why she was doing this. Her daughter had food to eat, medicine for her breathing, and a warm place to sleep. For now, that had to be enough, even if Rosa was not sure how much longer she could keep living this double life. 3 weeks into Rosa's new life, everything changed on a cold Tuesday evening. Luna had been coughing worse than usual, and her little chest was making wheezing sounds that scared Rosa. She had given Luna her medicine, but it did not seem to help this time. When Luna started having trouble breathing, Rosa knew she could not wait until morning. She wrapped Luna in a warm blanket and rushed to the community health clinic that stayed open late for emergencies. The clinic was in an old building downtown, but Rosa had heard it was a good place where doctors really cared about helping people, even those who did not have much money. The waiting room was crowded with other families who looked worried and tired. Rosa held Luna close while they waited, watching her daughter struggle to breathe normally. A kind nurse with gentle hands checked Luna's temperature and told Rosa they would see the doctor soon. When their name was called, Rosa carried Luna into a small examination room where a woman in a white coat was waiting for them. The doctor was younger than Rosa had expected, maybe in her early 30s, with dark hair pulled back and eyes that seemed to really see people when she looked at them. "Hello, I'm Dr. Chen," the woman said with a warm smile. "And you must be Luna, can you tell me how you're feeling, sweetheart?" Luna was usually shy with strangers, but something about Dr. Chen made her feel safe. She told the doctor about her chest hurting and how it was hard to breathe. Dr. Chen listened carefully to Luna's lungs with her stethoscope, asking gentle questions and making Luna giggle with funny faces. While Dr. Chen examined Luna, Rosa watched the way this doctor treated her daughter. Most doctors Rosa had met before seemed rushed and busy, but Dr. Chen took her time. She explained everything she was doing and made sure Luna was comfortable. When Luna got scared during one test, Dr. Chen distracted her with a story about a brave little princess who could talk to animals. "Luna has asthma, but I think you already knew that," Dr. Chen said to Rosa after the examination. "Right now, she's having a flare-up that's more serious than usual. We need to give her a breathing treatment here at the clinic, and then I want to talk to you about her medication." During Luna's treatment, Dr. Chen sat with Rosa in the waiting area. She asked questions about Luna's medical history and their living situation. Rosa tried to give short answers, not wanting to share too much about their problems. But Dr. Chen had a way of asking questions that made Rosa feel like she genuinely cared. "How are you managing with Luna's medication costs?" Dr. Chen asked quietly. "I know it can be expensive, especially if you're between jobs." Rosa felt tears starting to form in her eyes. She had not expected this doctor to ask about money. She certainly had not expected to feel like someone actually understood how hard things were. "It's difficult sometimes," Rosa admitted, not looking directly at Dr. Chen. But we manage. Dr. Chen nodded thoughtfully. You know, we have programs here that can help families with medication costs. And we're always looking for people who speak both English and Spanish to help other families who come to the clinic. Would you be interested in hearing about some opportunities? Rosa looked up, surprised. What kind of opportunities? Well, we need people to help translate for families during appointments. And sometimes we need help with paperwork and scheduling. It's not full-time work, but it pays fairly and comes with health insurance for employees and their children. For the first time in months, Rosa felt a tiny spark of hope. Real work. With real pay and insurance for Luna, it seemed too good to be true. After Luna's breathing treatment was finished, Dr. Chen walked them to the front desk. She gave Rosa several pamphlets about asthma care and wrote down some phone numbers for assistance programs. But more importantly, she gave Rosa her business card. Think about what I said about the job opportunities, Dr. Chen said. Call me tomorrow if you're interested. We really do need help, and you seem like someone who would be good at caring for people. On the bus ride home, Rosa held Luna close and thought about Dr. Chen's offer. Luna was breathing better after the treatment, and she fell asleep against Rosa's shoulder. Rosa looked down at her daughter's peaceful face and wondered if this could be the answer to their prayers, but Rosa also felt scared. What if she was not good enough for a real job like that? She had only finished high school and had no experience working in a medical office. What if they found out about what she had been doing to make money? Would they still want to hire her if they knew? That night, after putting Luna to bed, Rosa did something she had not done in weeks. Instead of getting ready to meet a client, she sat at her small kitchen table and really thought about her life. She looked at Dr. Chen's business card and imagined what it would feel like to have a job where she could help people instead of feeling ashamed of how she made money. Rosa thought about all the lies she had been telling. The lies to Mrs. Lopez about where she went at night, the lies to Luna about why Mommy was always tired, the lies she told herself about this just being temporary. She was exhausted from pretending to be someone she was not, but she was also scared to hope. What if Dr. Chen's job offer was not real? What if Rosa was not smart enough or good enough for legitimate work? What if they did not pay enough to cover all of Luna's medical needs? Rosa picked up her phone and looked at the messages from men who wanted to meet her. The money was reliable, and she knew she could make enough to pay next month's rent. But she also thought about Dr. Chen's kind eyes and the way she had treated Luna with such gentle care. Maybe, just maybe, there was another way to provide for her daughter. Maybe she did not have to keep living this double life that was slowly breaking her spirit. Maybe Dr. Chen was the answer she had been praying for. Even though she had stopped believing that anyone was listening to her prayers, Rosa put her phone away without answering any of the messages. Instead, she spent the evening filling out the paperwork Dr. Chen had given her for Luna's medication assistance. For the first time in months, she felt like she might be taking a step toward a different kind of life. She was still scared, but she was also ready to try something new. Tomorrow, she would call Dr. Chen. Tonight, she would allow herself to hope. Rosa woke up the next morning feeling different than she had in months. For the first time, she had slept through the night without nightmares or waking up in cold sweats. Ilona was breathing better too, sleeping peacefully next to her with the little teddy bear tucked under her arm. After making Luna breakfast and watching her eat with a healthy appetite, Rosa picked up Dr. Chen's business card. Her hands were shaking as she dialed the number, but she forced herself to make the call. Before she lost her courage, Community Health Clinic, this is Dr. Chen speaking, came the familiar warm voice. Dr. Chen, this is Rosa Martinez. You saw my daughter Luna last night. You mentioned there might be job opportunities at the clinic, Rosa said, trying to keep her voice steady. Rosa, I'm so glad you called. How is Luna feeling this morning? Much better, thanks to you. Breathing treatment really helped. That's wonderful to hear. Are you free to come in this afternoon? I'd love to talk to you about the position we have available. It's nothing fancy, but it's honest work, and it comes with good benefits. Rosa felt her heart skip with excitement and fear. Yes, I can come in. What time works for you? How about 2 o'clock? It'll give me time between patients to really talk with you about what the job involves. Rosa arrived at the clinic 30 minutes early, wearing the same blue dress she had worn to meet clients. But this time, it felt different. She was nervous, but it was a good kind of nervous, like the feeling she used to get before job interviews. When she still believed in her future, Dr. Chen met her in the waiting room, led her to a small office in the back of the clinic. The walls were covered with pictures of families and thank you cards from patients. Rosa could see that Dr. Chen was the kind of doctor who really cared about the people she helped. "Tell me about yourself, Rosa," Dr. Chen said, settling into her chair. "What kind of work experience do you have?" Rosa told Dr. Chen about her job at the clothing factory, about being a hard worker who was always on time, and about how she had learned to handle difficult situations with patience and kindness. She did not mention the last few months of her life, the websites, or the men she had been meeting. That part of her story felt like it belonged to someone else. "Your English is excellent, and I can tell you're comfortable speaking with people," Dr. Chen observed. "The position we have open is for a patient coordinator. You would help families check in for appointments, translate for Spanish-speaking patients, and assist with insurance paperwork. It's not glamorous work, but it's important." "That sounds perfect," Rosa said, and she meant it. The idea of helping other families like herself felt meaningful in a way that nothing had felt meaningful in months. Dr. Chen explained the salary, which was not huge, but was more steady money than Rosa had seen in a long time. The health insurance would cover both Rosa and Luna completely, including all of Luna's asthma medications and specialist visits. There was even a small childcare center in the building next door where Luna could stay while Rosa worked. "Could I start?" Rosa asked, hardly believing this was really happening. "How about Monday? We can start you with part-time hours while you learn the systems and then move to full-time once you're comfortable." Rosa's first day at the clinic was both exciting and terrifying. She wore a simple black skirt and white blouse that she had bought at a thrift store, and Dr. Chen introduced her to the other staff members. Everyone was welcoming, and Rosa could tell that this was the kind of workplace where people actually cared about each other. The head nurse, Mrs. Rodriguez, an older woman who had worked at the clinic for 15 years, she took Rosa under her wing, showing her how to use the computer system and teaching her the best ways to help nervous patients feel comfortable. "The secret," Mrs. Rodriguez told Rosa, "is to remember that everyone who comes here is scared about something. Maybe they're worried about their child being sick, or maybe they're embarrassed about not having money for treatment. Your job is to make them feel like they're not alone." Rosa understood that feeling perfectly. She remembered how scared and alone she had felt when she first brought Luna to the clinic, and how Dr. Chen's kindness had made such a difference. Learning the job was harder than Rosa had expected. There were insurance forms to understand, medical terms to learn, and computer programs that seemed complicated at first. But Rosa was determined to succeed. She stayed late to practice using the computer system. She asked questions when she did not understand something. The other staff members were patient with her, mistakes and encouraging when she did well. For the first time in months, Rosa felt like she was part of something positive. She was helping families get the medical care they needed. She was doing it with honesty and dignity. Luna loved the child care center next door. She quickly made friends with other children whose parents worked at the clinic, and she was excited to tell Rosa about her day when they walked home together each evening. Rosa had not seen Luna this happy and social in a long time, but the transition was not easy for Rosa emotionally. She had been living with shame and secrets for so long that she had forgotten what it felt like to be proud of her work. Sometimes she would catch herself expecting something bad to happen, waiting for someone to discover her past and take this new life away from her. The hardest part was dealing with the guilt about the choices she had made. Late at night, Rosa would lie awake thinking about the men she had met and the lies she had told. She wondered if she deserved this second chance, or if she was just pretending to be someone she was not. One evening, about 2 weeks into her new job, Rosa was helping a young mother who had brought her baby to the clinic for a checkup. Woman was clearly worried about money, and she kept apologizing for not having insurance. Rosa saw herself in this woman's eyes, the fear, the shame, the desperate love for her child. Rosa gently explained the clinic's payment assistance programs and helped the woman fill out the paperwork. When the woman started to cry with relief, Rosa felt something shift inside her heart. She realized that her painful experiences had taught her how to truly understand and help other people who were struggling. Maybe her past did not have to define her future. Maybe the difficult months she had lived through could actually help her be better at this job, more compassionate with families who were facing their own impossible choices. For the first time since she had started working at the clinic, Rosa felt like she truly belonged there. She was not just pretending to be someone new, she was actually becoming someone new. Someone who could help others while rebuilding her own life with honesty and hope. 6 months later, Rosa looked around the clinic break room, where everyone had gathered to celebrate Luna's 4th birthday. Her colorful balloons floated from every corner, and there was a beautiful cake with princess decorations that Mrs. Rodriguez had made herself. Luna was wearing a new pink dress that Rosa had bought with her own honest money, and her smile was brighter than Rosa had seen in over a year. "Make a wish, little princess," Dr. Chen said, lighting the candles on Luna's cake. Luna closed her eyes tight and blew out all 4 candles in one breath. When everyone cheered, she clapped her hands and looked up at Rosa with pure joy. "Mommy, this is the best birthday ever." Rosa felt tears of happiness in her eyes. A year ago, she could never have imagined celebrating Luna's birthday like this, surrounded by people who genuinely cared about them both. Back then, Rosa was living in fear and shame, making choices that broke her heart just to keep them alive. Now everything was different. Rosa had become one of the most valued employees at the clinic. Her gentle way with scared families and her ability to translate had made her indispensable. Dr. Chen often said that Rosa had a special gift for making people feel understood and cared for. The job had given Rosa more than just steady income and health insurance. It had given her back her sense of worth and purpose. Every day she helped families who reminded her of herself during the darkest time. She guided them through insurance paperwork, translated medical information, and most importantly, she showed them that there were people who cared about their struggles. Last month, Rosa had been promoted to lead patient coordinator, which came with a small raise and more responsibilities. She now trained new employees and helped Dr. Chen with special programs for low-income families. Rosa felt proud when she introduced herself to new patients and saw the relief in their eyes. When they realized someone understood their language and their fears, Luna was thriving too. Her asthma was under control with proper medication and regular checkups. She had made many friends at the childcare center and was getting ready to start kindergarten in the fall. Most importantly, Luna was happy and healthy, with the bright, curious personality that Rosa remembered from before their troubles began. But the biggest change was in Rosa herself. She had started taking evening classes at the community college, working toward a certificate in healthcare administration. Dr. Chen had encouraged her to think about her future, and had even helped her apply for financial aid. Rosa studied after Luna went to bed, dreaming of maybe becoming a nurse or a healthcare manager someday. The guilt about her past still visited Rosa sometimes, especially late at night when she was alone with her thoughts. But she had learned to carry those memories differently. Instead of letting them define her as someone shameful, she used them to understand and help other women who found themselves in desperate situations. 3 months ago, a young woman named Carmen had come to the clinic with her baby son. Carmen was clearly struggling financially, and Rosa could see the familiar desperation in her eyes. After helping Carmen with her appointment, Rosa gently asked if she needed information about job training programs or assistance with childcare. Carmen broke down crying and admitted that she was considering some dangerous choices to make money for her baby's needs. Rosa's heart ached with recognition. She spent her lunch break talking with Carmen, sharing some of her own story, and connecting her with resources that could help. 2 weeks later, Carmen started working part-time at a local grocery store, and she still brought her baby to the clinic for regular checkups. "You saved my life," Carmen had told Rosa during their last visit. "I was about to do things I would have regretted forever, but you showed me there was another way." Rosa had helped several women like Carmen over the months, women who were facing the same impossible choices she had once faced. Each time she was able to guide someone toward help instead of desperation. Rosa felt like her own painful experiences had served a purpose. Dr. Chen had noticed Rosa's special ability to connect with struggling families, and last week, she had made an offer that left Rosa speechless. The clinic was applying for a grant to start a support program for at-risk families, and Dr. Chen wanted Rosa to help design and run the program. "You understand these families in a way that I never could," Dr. Chen had explained. "Your experiences, combined with your natural compassion and your growing knowledge of healthcare systems, make you perfect for this role. We could help so many people together." Rosa was still thinking about that offer as she watched Luna play with her new birthday toys. The program would mean more responsibility, more studying, and definitely more challenges. But it would also mean helping families before they reach their breaking point, preventing other mothers from having to make the choices Rosa had made. That evening, after Luna was asleep, Rosa sat at her small kitchen table with her homework spread out in front of her. But instead of studying, she found herself writing in the journal that her counselor had suggested she keep. Rosa had been seeing a therapist for 3 months now, working through the trauma and shame from her past. She wrote about how grateful she felt for Dr. Chen's kindness and for the second chance she had been given. She wrote about Luna's laughter at her birthday party and about the young mothers she had been able to help. Most importantly, she wrote about forgiveness, learning to forgive herself for the choices she had made when she had no other options. Rosa looked around their small apartment, which now felt like a real home instead of just a place where they survived. There were books on the shelves, healthy food in the refrigerator, and pictures on the walls showing Luna's artwork from the child care center. Everything was simple, but clean and happy. Luna's medical supplies were organized in a proper cabinet, and there was always enough medicine. Rosa had even been able to save a little money each month, building toward a future that felt possible and bright. Before going to bed, Rosa checked on Luna, who was sleeping peacefully with her arms around the new stuffed animal Dr. Chen had given her for her birthday. Rosa kissed her daughter's forehead and whispered, "Sweet dreams, my brave little girl. Tomorrow, we're going to help more families, just like people helped us." As Rosa got ready for bed, she thought about the woman she used to be and the woman she was becoming. The scared, desperate mother who had made painful choices out of love was still part of her story. But now she was also a woman who had learned that there was always hope. Even in the darkest moments, she was Rosa Martinez, patient coordinator, student, survivor, most importantly, Luna's mother. And tomorrow, she would wake up ready to help other families find their own path from desperation to hope.